Good morning once again. My name is Purity Wanjiro. I'm the director for Accurex Leadership and Management Consultants Limited. We are a HR consultancy firm with a lot of learning in training, such as the one that you are about to do today on communication skills. I'm happy to have you here for the second round of communication skills. To help us go through this topic is Dorothy, one of our trainers, who is a specialist in her own way in communication, sales, and marketing. So help me to welcome Fidelis first to open us for us this meeting before Dorothy takes over.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you, Purity, for us. This is the second training on communication.
Yes.
I'd like to also thank Dorothy, and I hope you'll have an interesting session today as well. Thank you. I'd like also to tell everyone to keep their microphone muted to enable us to have a smooth training. Also, let interesting by participating. Everyone is going to enjoy. Thank you, Purity.
Okay, thank you so much, Fidelis. As we start this training, if you'll have any questions, we'll have a question and answer segment at the end of the presentation. We hope the presentation will take about 1 hour. Then we'll have another 30 minutes for question and answer session. So feel free to engage us on the chat box for any questions you might have. Other than that, Karibu Sana Dorothy, please take it over from there.
Thank you, Purity. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. I appreciate you attending the training. I know you all had work to do and you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here with us, so I appreciate that. Today we are going through communication skills, and I chose to title the discussion Effective Communication, because everyone communicates. We start communicating from the moment we are born to the moment we go to the grave, but not always are we effective in our communication. So I thought I would start out with a quote from the Dalai Lama. He says that when you talk, you're only repeating what you already know, but when you listen, you may learn something new. And many people, especially Kenyans, love to speak their opinion. And quite often, our tongues get us in trouble. I know that if you have been watching the news recently, you notice there's some people or someone who got in trouble for just speaking. And now he has to pay the consequences of his actions. You know, you don't just speak. You have to think about what you're saying. That's the challenge of most people. Most great communicators are very strategic in their communication. They think before they speak. And if they haven't thought it through, they remain quiet. So a brief introduction maybe into communication. What is communication? There are many descriptions of communication. I know you have had, I think the basic one that you were told was, it is the movement of information from one place to the other. I think that's the common one that people have had. As Purity has said, by the way, if you want to ask any question, if you want to interject, my chat box is open. Feel free to just mention something, and that's how we shall interact in class. Feel free to chat on the chat section. So communication is the transmission of an idea or feeling so that the sender and the receiver share the same understanding. Now, the sender is usually, you know, you have had effective communication. It's usually not looking so much at the sender or so much at the receiver. It's usually at the end product. In life, everything is about results, not effort. People know, people will call you a success, not for your effort, but for your results. I learned that recently. Now, the result of good, effective communication is understanding. If I am communicating to you and you and I are not understanding each other, then our communication has not been effective. And I know that right now, many of us are working from home, you know, we are living in very interesting times. People are saying, oh, we'll go back to normal. I don't think we'll ever, I think the old normal is gone. This is a new normal. I don't think I want ever to go back to a time where I shook people's hands. There's a study that has been shown, this is just as a by the way, there's a study that has been shown that the most communicated diseases have cut into half. Why? Because we are washing our hands, because our hygiene is good. With the diseases like typhoid, like, you know, cholera, have to cut short. George, please mute yourself. George, mute your microphone. Okay. Maybe the, okay, thank you, George. George, are you okay? Please mute. So yeah, we are never going back to the same normal. The things have changed. So I'm sure there are many things, distractions that we're facing right now at our homes while we are working from home. I know that there are children who are making noise when you're working on your computer. You know, like for me, I have pets. I have 2 cats. Sometimes when I'm teaching, that is when they want to come and sit on my lap or whatever. Today they behave, they want to stay somewhere else. So distractions are many that might hinder your understanding. In this era of Zoom, I think it is important for us to mention that there are a lot of things that are happening online because of Zoom. Zoom has come with its own amount of challenges, you know. But first, let's look at the importance of effective communication. First, it is important to effectively communicate because it helps understand a person or situation in a better way. It enables us to solve the differences that we have as people. Many times the disagreements that we have in the workplace and in life are due to effective communication. I said something and you had something else. Sometimes our message is misunderstood or we misunderstand the received message. Effective communication helps us resolve such problems. And then effective communication also helps us to connect well with colleagues, teachers, parents, our customers, our clients, anyone who we are interacting with. Effective communication helps us. And it also helps us in decision making. If you ask me, as a trainer, as someone who has worked in the corporate world for some time, I would tell you that communication is like blood. If you think about a person's body, if you think about an organization like yours and its body, how it functions, and you assign different body parts to different functions, I think to me communication is like blood. It's the one that carries oxygen, it's the one that carries, you know, nutrients, etc. So if communication is broken in the organization, it means that certain parts of the body will not be well supplied. They will not be getting oxygen. They will not be functioning at optimum. There will be a lot of misunderstandings. There will be a lot of issues because communication in the organization is not effective. What are some barriers? There are many. I had just started talking about Zoom. I don't know if you guys have had any experiences with Zoom. If you can share them with me as you read the barriers that I have placed there. There is language difference. There is information overload, sharing too much. One experience that I have had with Zoom is George Onyango.
Yeah, yes.
Please mute. We are hearing your conversation. Thank you. Some challenges that or barriers of communication. I don't know. Feel free to share on the chat as we converse. I was seeing the other day. I'm a lecturer at a university, and we were having every once a week. Actually, the beginning of the semester, we have a prayer day. So all the lecturers, all the staff, etc., they come on to they come on to Zoom, and at some point, the vice chancellor was speaking, and you know what happened? At that time we had prayed, and if you're a Christian like me, people were in the spirit, it was such a nice atmosphere. And then guess what happened? Just as the vice chancellor was giving us prayer points, the way he says, now I want us to pray for this, that. Someone actually had logged on, and I'm not giving anyone ideas here, don't do that, it's bad. But someone had logged on, a strange person, the way you broadcast the Zoom meeting. They logged on and they started sharing strange photos. I think you know what I'm talking about. Dirty pictures. While the vice chancellor was talking during a prayer meeting, and it just messed the dynamic. As in the good thing about it was, he noticed, you could tell he noticed it, but he played it off. He just continued as if nothing had happened, but it had already messed the flow of the conversation. Everyone was very aware of it. So some of the challenges that we face, or the barriers to communication, especially in a time like this, is things like those, sound barriers, technological barriers. Some people, I'm sure, are joining me using data. Maybe your data runs out and you're not able to continue with us. There might be a language barrier, especially if you're working in a multinational organization, for example. You might not be able to understand each other. I don't know what kind of composition of employees you have at your organization, but sometimes you will be speaking in Swahili, and like for a meeting like this, and there's maybe someone from Saudi Arabia who is not understanding you. So those are some of the effective communication, especially in the workplace. Another big one is gender. Sometimes we understand each other differently based on our gender. What women hear and what men hear are very different. Men can be, a woman can be, there is a day a friend of ours was in the office and she was crying. Another lady came and started consoling her. So the men are looking at her, and I think men don't understand that sometimes women just get emotional. Sometimes, not all the time. I'm not giving you an excuse to treat women in a certain way. Sometimes women just get emotional for strange reasons. So the men start saying, who has died? Because men don't understand that unless someone has died, someone can cry. They didn't understand. So later on, the lady told them, no, she just had some challenges. Just leave her alone. So be a barrier to communication. Those are some more that I had put there. I think later on, Purity will share with you this PowerPoint. There's jargon, there are stereotypes, there's culture, there's emotional taboos, lack of attention, physical disabilities. You might be deaf also, you might have your challenges. And these days, there's so much technology that helps those with disabilities. Now, I want to break this, at this point, the discussion down into the 7 C's of effective communication. All communication, I think, can be summed up in this, especially in the workplace. And we'll look at each one as we go along, and then we'll discuss email etiquette, and then I will be out of your hair. So the first C of effective communication is completeness. Give complete information. Many times people usually communicate, but they leave out important information. I usually like to use the 5 W's and 1 H. I think Purity can write them down for me, and I think you know what those are. The 5 W's and 1 H. I sometimes call it the 5 wives and 1 husband, if you want to remember it like that. Anyone? I'm sure you know the ones I'm talking about. There is who? Anyone? What? Let's discuss. Where?
Why?
Why? Who? And how? Whenever, especially if you are someone who is writing reports. Reports are like the backbone of most organizations. They can make or break effective reports. That's a whole nother training on its own. But a report can make or break an organization. I have seen situations where, especially like in departments such as sales, they doctor the reports. They say that we are selling 100 items every week, which looks very nice. So later on, they're looking at their books and they're like, but we're seeing that this person is writing in their report that every week they're sending 100. How come we can't make payroll? How come we can't do our debtors? What is wrong? Turns out it's just someone who was sending the wrong reports. So you have to make sure you write who, like if you're sending just a basic email, you say who you are, to whom it is concerned, what is it concerned, the reference, where it happened. For example, if you have different branches, you say that I'm from here in Kitui branch, for example, why you're sending the information, or when you need the feedback, or when you will give you will effect whatever it is you're talking about, and how it is going to be carried out. If you even use news stories, I have also done a bit of journalism. Even news stories are never published unless they cover these 5 W's and 1 H. I think our journalism as a country has suffered a bit. I think the quality of our journalism, when we work, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but the journal I see these days, it's a bit, sometimes they'll air a story and I'll think, how is this adding value to people? As in, of all the newsworthy stories, yesterday Bob Collymore a widow, there was a story that was out on The Nation and on the Standard newspaper about the will and how much she's going to inherit. And she said, there's so much more going on in the world that journalists could have reported on, but you decided to report on me. You're missing out a great opportunity to effect change on people. And I thought that was very smart of her. I actually read her tweets. I think she was writing out tweets, and she wrote, I think, an article on The Nation. And I thought, now I actually see what he must have seen in her. Not that I'm saying that he couldn't have seen anything. I'm just saying she's very smart. I see how they connected because she's eloquent and she's intelligent. I appreciated that. The next C of effective communication is conciseness. Conciseness. What does conciseness mean? Stay focused on what you're communicating about. And me as a sanguine, I know, but you know about temperaments. I sometimes struggle with that. Sometimes I might, because I talk a lot, and sometimes I'm also a storyteller. So sometimes I will lose focus sometimes and find myself diverting to other stories. But I always try to find a way to bring myself back. When you're communicating, especially in the workplace, it's important for you to stay focused on the topic at hand. Focus on, if you're having, like for example, when you're having meetings, I know especially with meetings, I see this a lot in the corporate world. The agenda has been set for a meeting. And then, you open with a word of prayer, and then the chairman opens. And then someone just comes from the left and says, by the way, Mliskia, this. And then you're like, but there was an agenda that was set. Africans have a big problem with sticking to the agenda. And that is why most meetings that are done in African boardrooms, I'm not saying all of them, but most meetings that are done in African boardrooms end up lasting longer than is necessary. And that is valuable time that you could have been out effecting those things you have talked about, instead of sitting around and just talking. It's because people lose focus. People don't go straight to the point. Everyone comes into a meeting with their own agenda, and yet the meeting has its own agenda. I think that's even why many people, if I told you, maybe that's even why some people are late to come to the meeting today, because they're like, oh, this is just another meeting. Because, you know, maybe some people's experiences is that whenever they go for meetings, you know, there's this that you are supposed to talk about, and then other things come up, and then you leave there feeling like, or another thing that happens is you start discussing the things that you are supposed to be talking about, and then you forget, and next time you come back and discuss the same things. You keep repeating the same things over and over, and nothing changes. That is a big challenge, especially when next C of the 7 C's, we are number 3, is consideration. Be considerate of the people who you're talking to, especially when it comes to things such as humor. Not everyone has the same sense of humor as you. You know, sometimes, and we all communicate differently. You know, say culture-wise, some cultures are very rough. If you work with people, especially, for example, from South Africa, South Africans cuss and swear. You know, they use F word and the B word in the workplace, like, you know, in speaking, but not writing. When it comes to writing, they're very professional. But if you start working with them, at first you need some adjustment because they are a bit rough, you know. They just talk, and sometimes they even talk like that even around their children. It's a cultural thing. With Kenyans, we are a bit, although it's changing, times are changing, cultures have interacted, and people are changing every day, but you have to be considerate. Not everyone has the same tolerance for your sense of humor or for the way you're talking. And it's not even sense of humor alone. Sometimes it is also an issue of how you're saying, your tone. Some people are shouting and they can shout and they're saying nice things. And some people can whisper, but they're spitting venom. I don't she had her. You sit and what woman is, she can make you feel this. You get angry and you'll ask her, hey, she's like you're uncivilized. Just calm down. See, we were just with a knife.
Hi, Dorothy.
Yes, Dorothy?
I'm not so sure if you're breaking on your end. There's a lot of breaking. Yes.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Should move closer to my computer.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, I've moved it closer. Okay. I was power. And people speaking but the words they're speaking are a knife. And some energy people personalities and their achievements. Yeah, just one is able to be clear as to what, thank you, Elijah. Be clear as to what you want to say. Be clear. Avoid vagueness. Don't be vague. Don't make someone guess, they wanted to say this, or they wanted to say that. What exactly were they trying to say? Be as clear as possible. Thank you, George. Sometimes when you're passing across information, you, especially with younger people, I find with younger people, it's very difficult sometimes to, sometimes you'll give out information, like myself, because I'm a lecturer, some of my students, I'll give them an assignment. And later on, everyone will have understood their own thing. So I'll tell them, stop, come back, let me explain again. Then let me explain, and then you'll ask everyone, have we understood each other? Are we together? Yes. But still later on at the end of the semester, someone says, oh, but Mwalimu, I didn't know. You have to be it's something that you have to constantly practice. And I think it goes back to the 5 W's and 1 H again. You have to be, if you have all of them, then you should be able to achieve clarity. The next C is concreteness. Concrete. When you are sharing information, especially in the workplace, but even in outside, in your private, to be, you're passing on information that is true. It's concrete. It's precise. You're presenting information that is, you don't just make things up as you go along. If there's a very big difference between 0.1 and 1.0. 0.1 and 1.0. It's a big difference. You have to be concrete. Don't just make things up as you go along. Some people, the problem with them, especially I see it a lot with the politicians, they just speak. They just say things. And I'm seeing that a lot, especially with someone like Donald Trump. And it's always coming to mess him up. But his people love him regardless. I don't know if he has taken a leaf from the African leaders. I don't know what it is, but they just say things for the sake of saying. And then later on, when you ask them, they say, no, I didn't say. You've seen that the guy who comes and he says, ulisikia wapi? Such people. In the workplace, not giving the right concrete information can make or break your career. It can cause, I've heard of people who have been fired because of not giving concrete information. The next one is courtesy. Courtesy in a message implies that the message should show the sender's expression as well as respect the receiver. Courtesy, be polite. Using words such as dear so-and-so, words such as kindly, words such as regards, or even having courtesy. Some of you send messages and say, you, and we've not seen each other since yesterday, right? If you start, and someone who contacted me the other day, I think I was a bit anxious about something, and I just asked her, where is this? And she said, you have, say good morning at least for a change. I caught myself. I had to be careful. After that, I made sure you have the courtesy to say hello. Even in the office, when you come into the office, say hello to people. It goes a long way. I used to work in a company where there's a guy who used to come in the office. There were two people. It was a lady and a gentleman. He would come into the office. The first thing, in fact, he would come in early. And the office had 150 people. He would come in early to greet people. I kid you not. He would walk around and hand. And when it came down to, there was a time when they were downsizing people, he was the last one to be considered. They said he is so nice that we would hate to lose his optimism. I'm not saying that now you start going around the office. Now in Corona times, we don't shake hands. All I'm saying is when you come into the office, courtesy, say hi to the watchman, say hi to the tea girl. I think sometimes that it goes without saying, but there are some people who actually don't greet people. They're like, okay, so if I greet them, what value will it add? It makes a difference. it builds good relations in the office. It sets the environment. Another courtesy, way of having courtesy is help people out. Have simple we're not talking about etiquette today, but when you go in the lift, have the courtesy, hold the lift for someone, you know, let those who are coming out come out first before you go in. Small things here and there. It's the little things that make everyday life easier. Yeah, that is courtesy. At this point, before I continue, is there any comment from anyone? Does anyone want to add anything before I continue? Does anyone have a comment, a concern? Anyone? Are we all right? Elijah, Kennedy, George, since you're the ones who I'm seeing. Anyone at all? Are we okay? Okay, let me continue then. Correctness is the next one. Then correctness comes in many shapes and forms, but especially when it comes to grammar. Speak proper language. Speak, you know, the problem with texting and social media, it has messed the quality of our grammar. Little thing, let me give you an example. There's this thing that people say, there's this thing that people say, especially Kenyans have seen it. Instead of saying, I will type it here. Instead of saying I'm, they say, instead of saying I'm, they say am. That's not good grammar. Small things. Let me tell you, there are some bosses, especially because I know that many bosses, sorry, I have a bit of a cold. I know that many bosses, especially those ones who are sanguine, they look for such things. Your punctuations, your spellings, you don't have to twang, by the way, to speak good English or speak good Swahili, but when you're writing it down, write it properly, write good grammar. I can tell you many examples of people who have had heavy mother tongue influence, people such as Ngugi wa Thiong'o and this lady who died, Wangari Maathai. She had a heavy mother tongue influence, but her grammar was good. Her books, when you read her books, the English was good. So when it comes to writing, especially communication writing, write correctly, use proper punctuations, and we'll look a bit at how to write a good email later on. But make sure, don't put too many exclamation points, put a question mark where necessary. Go through your writing, even if it's an SMS. Personally, as a rule, I try not to use shorthand when I'm texting. I try not to, because let me tell you, it flows over into your professional life. If you write in abbreviation, like I can give you an example. Who can tell me what this means? I've written there in the chat. Who can tell me what? Spell it out with your mouth. What am I saying there? Anyone have an idea? The chat. I'll write it once again. Anyone have an idea what? You can give it a guess. To me, too. Exactly. Now you get used to writing it like that on SMS, and then when you come to the office, you start writing an email, and it happens subconsciously. You don't intend to do it, but because most of the time is spent on these cell phones texting, it flows over into your regular writing. You find maybe you used to SMS your teenager like that, and then one day you're speaking to your boss, and then they wonder, who is this person? And this is one of our managers. What kind of an SMS is this? Make a habit of writing properly. And if you don't want to text, if you don't feel like texting, then call. I know that there are people who are very bad at texting. Call. Let me tell you, sometimes we put so much down in writing, and we never know when it's going to come and bite us in the behind. Putting down things in writing, especially when it comes to the corporate setting. I know of someone who they used to text. They used to lie a lot via text. Like they'd come late or they'd leave the office early. And when the boss would ask them, the boss was very strategic. The boss would ask him, he wouldn't call, he would send him a message and ask, where are you right now? He would say, I have left, I've gone to run some errands. I will be back at, he's left at noon. He says, I will be back at 3 o'clock. The guy never comes back. That boss kept all those SMSs. The day when they were planned, when they had started the process of leaving him, there was evidence. There was written evidence via SMS. And she said, and every time he would do that, she would go and type an email to HR and say, at this and this time, so and so left the office. This was after he had done a lot of many bad things. He was just a bad worker. Now she started keeping a record. She said, on this and this date, so and so did not come on time. When I texted him, see the screenshot. When I texted him, this is what he said at 9 o'clock. Like that, she kept a whole record of the SMSs. It wasn't long before this guy was fired. And the process, they went through the whole process. First verbal warning, second verbal warning, written warning, show cause letter, and then later on, he was dismissed just because of the SMS he was writing. Yes, okay. How to apply these 7 C's of effective communication? It is simple. One, even before I read what is there, practice, practice, practice. Practice, practice, practice. The more you practice the 7 C's, it's a skill. Effective communication is a skill. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. So that's number 1. Number 2, manage your emotions. Don't communicate while you're emotional. You would rather take a pause and think about what you want to say. Especially, many relationships have been broken just because someone texted the other while they were emotional. Just because you went and told someone something while you were emotional. Sometimes it is, and again, it's a skill. Take some time and take a pause and think about what you're about to say before you say it. I understand that that time when you are in the heat of the moment, you just want to lash out and you just want to destroy this person. But at the end of the day, in the long run, it's really not worth it. Don't let minor things affect major areas of your life. Avoid the use of you too much, because you sounds accusatory. I don't know if when in the corporate world they say as much as possible speak French, say we as much as possible. These are just small tips. I'm not saying that now from now on you never use the word you. I'm just saying use some of these words sparingly. There's something in communication that we call subliminal messages. I will type it down here very quickly for you to see. Subliminal messages. What are subliminal messages? Subliminal messages. Subliminal messages are what I'm passing across to you without saying it directly. I can be saying I love you, but the tone I'm using is saying something else. I can be saying congratulations, but the tone I am using is completely different. So you have to just be careful when it comes to how you communicate. But with 7 C's, it's practice, practice, practice. On this note, let's look at email etiquette. Again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out, to speak up and say. Email etiquette. Anyone please read for me this email. One of our participants, please go ahead and read for me this email. kindly? Anyone? Shall I pick? Let me see who is there. Vincent Onyango, would you like to read for me this email, please? Can you see it? Okay, go ahead.
No, I can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it?
I can't see it.
You can't see. I've been Purity. Can you see that?
It's showing.
It's showing. Oh,
Yeah.
Joseph Ndede, can you see it? Joseph, can you see it?
I doubt if Joseph is even hearing. His mic is not even on.
Oh, I see. Jeremiah Mbati, please read for me this email. Okay.
I submitted. Are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I submitted my expense report last week and I still don't have. Always problems receiving my checks on time. I know that you have cut-off times and they usually make them. So I don't know what is happening. Is there any way you can notify people when you don't process their reports on time? Can you clarify exactly how the process works? As well as review the policy that you have regarding cutting check after the standard cut-off time. I would like to get my check posted. Like I realize that
Someone can Google that. You continue, skip that and continue.
Okay. But there might be a better way to handle it. How do you handle checks for direct reports? Do you have the same cutoff times? Can you process last week account, AST account, and pay it in? I really don't want to wait another week. If at all possible, please advise. Please don't just give me the typical RFM account.
Response. Okay. Someone can Google TNSTAFL. Thank you so much for that. You can mute yourself, please. Someone please Google TNSTAFL. And someone else Google RTFM. But while they're Googling that, what is wrong with this email? Who can tell me what is wrong with this email? Anyone? Anyone can speak up. What is wrong with this email? A lot of vulgar language, that is true. Sounds very rude. Misspelling. They spelled a lot of things wrong. Thank you for that, Elijah and Nashon. Anyone else? Anyone else? Sounds like a peer group chat. Imagine, yeah, it looks like it's something on WhatsApp. And even on WhatsApp, this is a lot. This is the one that you hear someone say, they told you someone please themselves. There's no salutation. There's no salutation, and they didn't even say bye. Waliingia tu na wakaanza ha. They just came in and started talking. It's like this person came from a meeting somewhere and said, wait, they're going to see me. And he sat and he started typing. And he typed and he typed and he didn't even want to care and he sent. That's true. No salutation. Anything else? Anything else? Has anyone found the meaning of TNSTAFL? I can tell you for free. TNSTAFL means there is no such thing as a free lunch. It up. So he is saying, I realize that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Thank you for that, RTFM, but the one that I had known from before, it can be that one, and there's also the typical run-of-the-mill accounting response. Both of them, it's still rude. It's still rude. Even those abbreviations, it's like tumia tu. You don't write such things on an official email. I know that there are some times when we write abbreviations like, I would like a response by EOB. What does EOB stand for? End of business. Or EOD, end of day. But when you only write that to people who are within your organization, don't write EOB or EOD to someone who is in another company because they might not understand. Or don't write such things to your boss. It doesn't look good. The thing about etiquette, we are discussing email etiquette. The thing about etiquette, any type of etiquette, will you get arrested for not writing a good email? No, you will not go to prison. You will not go to court necessarily. However, it might cost you a promotion. It might cost you your relationship with your colleagues. It might cost you even just people not respecting you in general. I know that sometimes, you know, when you reach leadership levels, I don't know how many of you are managers. Managers sit and discuss people. It's kawaida. That's what happens. It's the way when you were in school, teachers used to sit and discuss students in the staff room. It still happens even in the corporate world. And what ends up happening while they are in their meetings, someone mentions, did you see that email that was sent out by so-and-so? Who is this person? That person is rude and they had applied for a promotion. Should I promote him? No. How now if you promote someone like that, they'll make you look bad in your department. And that is just, it's left like that. So you'll be working in this department for years and years and you're wondering, how come I'm not getting promoted? Kumbe, it might be that you are just communicating badly. So let's look at some ways of writing emails as well. When you use the capital letter, it sounds demanding and like yes, it's like you're shouting. Thank you very much for that. You don't do that. Or don't write in red, like the way sometimes you write in capital and in red because you want to stress a point. Don't do that. It sounds rude. Like this one, it sounds like even if I was going to give you that check, I can even change my mind and say, you are shouting at me, who do you think you are? I'll pay you when I pay you. Another thing I think people have not noticed is the re here. I don't know if you can see my arrow. The reference.
Yes.
The subject, yes. The subject is very rude. Screw up. If you see something like that as a boss, you really will judge the person. I have ever seen a situation where a boss sees an email and actually gets up from his desk and asks the secretary, who is so-and-so? Please show me that person. And then they look at you and they say, oh, okay, that is him. Okay. Just like that, you have been blacklisted by the boss because of an email that you sent. And notice, he has written the subject, screw up, and he has CC'd the boss and so many other people. So everyone has seen this email. It's like you have just shown people how uneducated you are, for lack of a better description, you know. Another thing is this here, the exclamation marks. Don't use too many exclamation marks, just one is enough. Here are some pointers on email etiquette. Always use appropriate greetings. Say, dear so-and-so. I see in Christian organizations, they say Calvary greeting. Yeah, they use a proper salutation. The next one is you only use shorthand if you know the recipients, and even then avoid it, because one day you will want to be sending to the bosses and you will forget. So avoid shorthand altogether. And then be wary of using humor or colloquialism. Don't think just because the joke is funny to you, it will be funny to everyone in the office, especially jokes to do with religion. Is saying jokes like Muslims, you can't make a joke about, you know, Muhammad or anything like that. You can't. Christians are the ones who joke around with Jesus and Judas, etc. Especially around Christmas or around Easter. You see those jokes. Some people don't take them lightly. I saw a joke yesterday. Someone, you know, those ones that people said. Someone said, maybe Judas's girlfriend had needed money immediately. That's why he went and betrayed Jesus. Labda demi ya Judas alikuwa anataka pesa immediately. That's what she said. Some people will find it funny, but others, religion is a very sensitive thing to them. So you have to be sensitive when it comes to jokes when you're writing an email. Consider the purpose of the email also when you're writing your email. Is it very official? Is it like a report, or is it something to advise everyone? Is it just within the department? You have to really be aware of it. In fact, before you know why you're emailing, don't email. Leave it alone. Avoid emailing. There is something else that you need to know. As long as I know you have company emails, like so-and-so at the name of your company, etc. As long as it has the name of the company, that email address is not yours. It is yours, but it is company property. If something was to happen, if, for example, there was a court case, the police can actually come and collect those emails as evidence if the company gives them out. Like, for example, if God forbid, if one of your peers, for example, and maybe they're killed, for example, and then someone says, I remember he said that he received an email from so-and-so saying that I will kill you. The company can actually open that company email and give it to the police as evidence. You have to be very careful by the time you're sending out an email. Must it be written down? Or can you just pick up the phone and call? You have to be careful. I think that was an error. Sorry, actually it's correct. Think before you smile. Don't use those emojis, you know, those smiling. Are they emojis or emoticons? Some people say differently. Some people say emoticons, some people say emojis. Avoid using them, especially in the workplace. You say, welcome back, and then you put a smiley face. Again, you won't be arrested for it, but avoid those things. Another thing I have also seen, especially in the workplace, avoid, you know, those people who like sending out emails to everyone. This is your devotion for the day. I don't know about that. The Purity, what do you think about that? Devotion for the day, every day. You send out to everyone in the company, and you think you have really helped people, but people are thinking, now I have to take time to read again. It's as irritating as, and I'm a Christian, by the way, I have nothing against those, but send directly to someone. It's like those emails that someone says, send, if you don't send to 10 people, then yes. Don't do those things. You just read your devotion quietly and meditate upon God's word, pray, finish. Don't do those things. The biggest one also is don't email while emotional. Avoid emailing while emotional. Don't hit reply all, CC everyone. Avoid that. Reply in a timely fashion. If someone sends you, and have a habit of replying, responding to emails. Reply. Say, thank you received, or noted with thanks. Have a habit of responding. It's good manners. Don't be the kind of person who people just send to emails and you never respond. And then the day I'll come and ask you, Kwani, you never get my emails? You say, oh, no, I usually get them. Kwani, see, it says that it was sent. No. Have the habit of saying, thank you received, noted. It's good practice. Think about where your email could end up. It could end up in the hands of the police. It could end up in the hands of the president. You don't know. Anything is possible. These days, there's something called screenshots. Yes? You can send out an email and someone just decides to screenshot and share it. I've seen it many times where companies, people usually take screenshots and share them on WhatsApp, and it goes viral. It's like the time when there's a Mzungu who went to Chandarana supermarket. I don't know if you went and saw that. And I think there was one of the managers who wrote an email and said, let's avoid African customers. We want to encourage only white and Indian customers. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. He wrote it on an email. One of the staff took a screenshot and shared it, and that manager was fired. Just like that. Because of saying racial things, saying things like, I think it also happened I think was it Carrefour? It also happened. Where someone said something racial or something like that. It happens all over the place. Be careful. You never know where your email is going to end up. It might cause you to lose your job or just spoil your name in the company. Always spell check. I think that goes without saying. Read and reread your email before you send it. And then include a clear subject and don't shout. A clear subject, make it as short as possible. Don't say annual minutes for that were held on the this and this. Just write minutes for this and this date. Pass. Straight and to the point. Don't put, and then some people like writing the reference in capital letters. Even that, avoid it. As I wrap up, I don't know if someone else has anything to add on email etiquette. As I wrap up, effective communication is all about self-awareness. Effective communication starts with you. Take it as your own responsibility that you are going to communicate effectively as a person. All take responsibility, then the communication is going to be better. Evaluate yourself, check yourself, make yourself a better person when it comes to communication, and everyone is going to be better for it. I don't know if you have any questions. That is our information. I am done. That's our information. Feel free to ask questions. Any additions, any comments? Thank you for your time. Back to you, Purity.
All right, thank you so much, Dorothy. That was very, very informative. And now I think I'll open the floor for any questions we might be having around communication, because I know, and especially now we have a new normal, communication has really changed, such that unlike, I don't even remember the last time I was in the office and I met people that we had a face-to-face communication, you know. Now we are relying on emails, we are relying on WhatsApp, we are relying on so many other things to make communication possible. So let us open this floor. If you have any question or comment or something that you felt like maybe we left out during this conversation, this is your time.
Yes. Karibu sana. This this group is a bit more quiet than the last
The
one.
other one, yeah, for sure.
But tunawapenda bado wote. Anyone? Concerns, thoughts? Okay.
Hello.
Oh, hello, George.
Hello,
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, George, we can hear you.
Okay, this came from Diaki.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for the training and the communication. So we were just requesting, could we get these PowerPoints maybe on our email so that we can be going through them?
Yes, that is possible. We'll share it with Fidelis, who will be able to transmit it to you.
Sasa, thank you.
Welcome.
Hello. Hello, Dorothy.
Hi.
Yes, Elijah, hi.
This is David. We are just connecting through Elijah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, from Oyani.
Okay.
So I was asking, there is this when people are sending emails. There is the last point where people use kind regards, yours sincerely. Let's say if within an organization. I want to believe that most people maybe use regards or what. But if you are using, let's say now, beyond your organization, is it okay?
Sorry, last question.
I'm saying, there is this word that people like using, kind regards or regards. They say, yes. People use it mostly, let's say, within an organization that you know yourselves, within an organization. But if you are sending an email outside your organization, is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. But you know, this thing for kind regards is something that just came recently. Before, when we used to write letters, what we used to say? We used to say, yours sincerely or truly yours. This is just something that came up in the corporate world recently. But it's okay. If you want to go back to, old school and go and say, yours sincerely yours, that is also, it's perfectly fine. And these days, the people have even changed it a bit. Some say warm regards, sincere regards, blessed regards. Everyone has their own way. Something we have not mentioned, I think it's very important for us to say.
Yes.
Signature. Signatures, I see strange signature, especially some people, they'll put it's fine, you put your number, your email address, and then you put 3-4 Bible verses, and then you put down there, stay green, conserve, it's a whole thing. So by the time you sift through, the email is probably just thank you, but the signature has taken the whole screen. Minimize your signatures, yeah? Make it a small thing. Don't let your signature become so much that it overshadows the message that you're trying to send. Yeah. Okay, anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for your question. Anyone else?
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, Angela.
Hello, can you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, you're breaking up.
I'm saying I've heard there's something called
Purity, have you heard it?
No, I'm not able to hear her.
Yeah, I can't hear her.
Let me start. Allow me to start.
You can type the question, yes. Type. Type the question.
Hello.
Yes, Onesimus.
Okay, this is Onesimus from head office, Kisosing.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to inquire on something. When you're writing emails, you find you get some emails written, the salutation starts with hi, like HI, which is the best salutation to use when you are doing an email. You just check on, well, because most of the times you find people doing writing emails to you or other. When you get them, they have such salutations. Which is the best salutation to use?
The best salutation, and this I was taught by my boss. I know that many people use hi and hey. The best salutation, the most official one, make this a habit. Say, dear so-and-so. That is the most official. Dear Mr. So-and-so. I work in a university where titles matter a lot. You know, there is doctor, there's professor, and then it's also a Christian university. So there's professor, reverend. If you know their title, the better. But try as much as possible. Dear Purity, dear Onesimus. That is the best. You can never go wrong with that, and no one will ever fault you for saying anything. That is the standard. By the time you start saying hi to someone, make sure it is a very close relationship. You know, that it's someone you've built a rapport with, you have a friendship with. But the best one, standard, dear.
Okay.
Yes, Angela has written.
Angela?
Yes, yes.
I've heard of digital signatures where one can sign on emails as they send. Anything to share on that? How far or near are we towards that technology?
We are I think it's happening already. Digital signatures. Yeah, e-signatures, especially right now where people are not able to go to the office to sign. People have e-signatures. It is happening already. But also, be careful what you're signing. You never know where your signature is going. Be careful what you're signing. May it be absolutely necessary for you to sign a document online. Because what will happen if, especially now when it comes to money and things like that, and maybe you're a finance manager, for example, and then you are always throwing your signatures all over the place. What happens? In fact, I usually see with CEOs, they have the signature they use on email, and then they have a different signature that they use on checks, because they know someone can easily take that signature and use it somewhere. I'll give you an example. There was a time I wanted to make a gift for someone. He's one of my mentors, and I thought it would be something nice to do. So he every month he usually sends out a newsletter, and he has his e-signature there. So I thought, I saw his signature, and I took it to a shop somewhere where they make sweatshirts, hoodies. And I told them, I want you to take this signature and put it on the sweatshirt. It was nice, but it actually made me think, if I wanted to use this signature badly, if I was a wicked person, I could do it. But the technology is there. It is there for sure. But you have to be careful where you paste your signature. Or maybe you're asking how to do it. How to do it, you can always Google on YouTube, and they'll tell you how to make a digital signature.
I think even for some organizations, they already have that in place. You only have to maybe ask your IT department to give you those standard signatures. I see a lot in organizations, the signatures are very standard, you know. So I think it's a matter of just communicating internally and deciding this is what we'll be using going forward, such.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any other question?
Well,
yes, Onesimus.
I have another. Okay, I want
sure.
When you're discussing about concreteness on the 7 C's of communication, I remember you said that when you're communicating, you should be specific on that. So I wanted to give a scenario. Maybe, for instance, you did hit somebody. Do you explain to the extent to which how hard you did hit that person.
You see, it depends on who you're emailing and what are you emailing. At the end of the day, no matter how much or how little, it has to be correct information. If it is not correct, don't share it. Verify whatever it is and then share it. But if it is something like, for example, that you're sharing to external people, if you don't share an internal report, like maybe you're in HR, I have seen this happening, where you're in HR and then you send out, even just where I work, by the way, the HR person sent an email with everyone, with the payroll, and by mistake they sent it to everyone. You know that email that goes to everyone in the organization, the way even here in chat there's one that can go to everyone and there's one that goes to directly to someone. He sent out the email and sent the payroll to everyone, so all the students saw what all the lecturers are doing. So you have to be careful, who are you sending the information to? Either way, you have to make sure that the information is correct. So I hope I've answered your question. Purity, do you have anything to add to that?
Not exactly. I think you've captured everything. I just think also like that CC, I don't know if you've mentioned it, where I think it's overused. Most of the time, like you want to reply to everyone in all conversations. So I think we need to be more mindful of that as well.
The only time when you CC everyone is, for example, when they have sent, we would like to announce the death of so-and-so. That one you can reply to everyone and say my condolences, period. That one is fine. Or we would like to announce that this and this day has been declared a national holiday. You can say noted, bas. But generally, like just interdepartmental emails, avoid. Let me tell you what I have interacted with several CEOs and directors and MDs. Every email to them is important. So what a CEO will do, those top CEOs, people like maybe Chris Kirubi, the first thing they do in the morning, they come in and they start responding to their emails. Now, if you send for them emails which are useless, that they're not attached to, so you're messing their day. Basically, you don't want that person. So avoid all.
Okay. Yes, it's okay. Do we have any more questions?
Okay. I guess we've answered as many. The details are there, the numbers are there in case they have any other questions, they can always
ask. So feel free to reach out to us, drop us an email or give us a call, or even chat with us on WhatsApp if you have any if you have any more questions. I think we'll call it an end at this point. Thank you so much, Dorothy. That was very, very, very insightful. I believe, or I hope, like we live here with lessons learned, will improve our communication skills. We'll also become better speakers, better communicators in our respective departments, our respective roles. Thank you so much, Fidelis, for making this happen. I think I'll just give Fidelis 1 minute to give us the closing remarks, then we can end it from at that point. Thank you.
Hi, Purity.
Hi.
Now, I would like to thank you and Dorothy for your time.
Yes.
It was a very informative session. And I understand this is the first topic. We have like how many more to go? 5.
Yes.
5 more topics to go. So I can see the number was better than yesterday.
Yes.
And I would like to thank everyone for their time. I'm sure each one of us has learned something new, yes, something that we didn't know. And Dorothy?
Yes.
I thank you for letting us know the official way of communicating. I'm used to writing hi. Hi everyone, hi team. Thank you for that.
Most welcome.
Purity. Okay,
Yes.
Purity, you can take over. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, thank you so much. I will prepare certificates for those people who are present for today's presentation. I think I'll just share with them, we'll share to Fidelis the certificates, then she's able to share directly to you. So thank you so much. I think we'll call it an end at this point. We hope this continues to be a relationship between our two organizations, that we continue to empower you as well as we grow our organization. So thank you so much. I hope to talk to you soon. Feel free to reach out to us and also follow us on social media. Just see what other webinars we're having. After this session, we are having another webinar on demystifying leadership. You're more than welcome to join that conversation just to see what you're talking about in the leadership space. So without much further ado, I think I'll call this training to an end. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.